everybody, my name is Kay and this is my Cave of Possibilities. I have yarny and nitty stuff to the left of me, cross-stitch stuff over here to the right, and here I am, stuck in the middle with you and Princess. Hi everyone, happy Wednesday morning, which is the time it will be when I post this. It's a nice Tuesday afternoon. We are headed into the highs of the 90s. On Thursday, it's supposed to be 102, which is way too hot for this time of year. Princess is here, trying to claim everything I own as her very own. We have gotten over the I have come home greetings, where I say hello, and she tells me everything that is wrong with the world. So now she's just doing her thing, I guess you would say. We are having a good time, doing the best we can, fighting through the challenges and troubles that come with a brand new software at work that just doesn't work the way we were sold. Anyway, let's talk about cross-stitch today. It's pretty much everything that I have, and on top of my wee pile of things are some fully finished objects. I picked them up from the framers today. The first thing I'm going to show you is my cute little pansy. This came from a pattern called Nora's Alphabet, and it was published by Fireside Originals, and it is only available through a certain cross-stitch shop, which has escaped my mind, and I have put the the pattern away, so I can't tell you what shop it's available off the top of my head, because I'm terrible at that. I have reached an age where the memory banks are full, and it's kind of how it is. But anyway, I stitched this 2/2 with the called for flosses on a 32 count water lily linen by Witchilt, which is water lily I find to be terrifically versatile and a really nice green. It goes well with purples, really well. I had this framed with the museum glass, spacers, the whole 9 yards. Anyway, she turned out really cute, and I can't wait to hang this little pansy up on my walls. I'll set her down over here for Princess to rub her head on and declare it hers. The second little fully finish is another little piece that I had framed. This was a kit. Now I can't remember if it was RTO or Riolis. It was one of those two. I tried to stitch it with the called for fabric that was in the in the kit, but I just didn't like it. It didn't work. It was like it was an 18 count with the beautiful woolen fuzzy threads, but it was too dense for two over stitching. So 2 threads of cloth on the I believe it was an 18 count Ada. Anyway, it was way too tight and wasn't going to work. So I substituted in this blue, which works really well, except for some of the shading, which you can only see when I hold it up really close, is about the same color as my fabric. But that doesn't bother me any. I still think she looks absolutely stunning. This is a cute little frame. Anyway, I used the kit flosses and directions, all that good stuff. I just swapped out the fabric because the fabric it came with would have been too small, too dense. I did a good portion of one of the first pansies, and it was so dense I couldn't even pick it out once I decided that I didn't want to do it 2 over. I was going to try it 1 over, so I did try some 1 over, and that was just way too thin. And so at that point in time, I gave up, switched out the fabric. Anyway, also very cute. Can't wait to get her up on my walls. So those are my 2 fully finished objects. I think I finished both of those, I'm going to have to say, probably last year. In 2024 sometime. All right, let's start again talking about my finishes for the past 2 weeks. Since I've been working on smalls, I've got a couple of things accomplished. The first one is Wilhelmina from Plum Street Samplers, and I did a conversion provided by Shepherd's Bush. They're located in Ogden, Utah, and we went from purples from pinks to purples. Anyway, overall, I am thrilled how this conversion turned out. It's just so cute. I stitched her on a 32 count linen from Red Thicket. She is a local dyer. If you see anything you want, hit her up on her website and make a special request. I know she's been extra busy with life and stuff, so she hasn't had time to update her website, but if you see it, she'll be more than happy to dye something for you. Anyway, so this is Miss Wilhelmina, and I do really like the way she turned out. She came out cute and excellent, and I'm ready to put all of her stuff away. The next things I finished were bonus charts from a Little Mystery Club. There aren't any pictures of the bonus charts, but one was in part 2 and the other was in part 3. So I thought I'd show you the front of these, both by Lizzie Kate. The first one I finished came from the second pattern. And this is Make Today Count. Whoops, there we go. I always forget. My camera doesn't work like a mirror. Anyway, this turned out super cute. I'm debating on picking out Make and doing it the same color as the main letters in Count, so that it's a little bit darker. I chose this as a 32 count, picture this plus, Whimsy, I believe it is. I stitched it with pretty much the called for colors. I made a couple of changes up here in these stars because they were charted for the same color that's down here that kind of disappears with the fabric. I thought stitching a mass of it would allow it to show up, but it really doesn't. And I'm not invested enough to go ahead and pull all of it out, so there's that. I think that did turn out quite well. Cuter than cute. So we'll set this over here. And then there was another, they called it a wee sampler, or a little sampler, that was in the third part of the chart. And so I stitched this on a 30 count angel hair linen from Weeks Dye Works is what this is. And this one says, don't let yesterday take up too much of today. And I did stitch this one just as called for. So I think it turned out rather well. Absolutely adorable. I was going to take both of these in to be framed today, but then I remembered I have to show them to you before I do that. And so an old Christmas finish went into the framers today. I'm working on the switcheroo, so I take one in, it gets framed, I pick the one up, and take another one in when I pick one up. So that is how I am working that. So those are, something stuck. Those are my 2 little stitches that I did for the last of Lizzie Kate. They're living in a bag I made myself. Wilhelmina was living in a bag that my mom made. I know, I just showed you the bags. Okay. Next up, I finished up the spring bag from Shepherd's Bush, but I was doing it in, let's see, pincushion form. So you can kind of see the pincushion right down there at the bottom in front of the bag. And I finished that one, oh, just the other day, I would say. Here we go. We can use our small backer board for this one. It turned out just so cheery. It really makes me smile. I bought it as a kit. Let's open this out. Here it is. So it was put together as a kit. It had the linen in there, along with, there's some fabric in there. You can see it hiding behind the lady dot trim. So, and it came with flosses. That's the word. My brain forgot it for half a moment. Flosses. But in their directions, Shepherd's Bush says to stitch 1 over 1 on the 32 count fabric that they provide. And I like a little bit fuller coverage, more dense, thicker coverage. So I did 2 over 2 on the 32 count. And if you're doing that, you will run out of a couple of the colors of floss. So I pulled the DMCs. It's mostly DMCs. I pulled those out of ye old stash and did those. And then I had some, what were the works? The works, oh my gosh, the week's dye works were Romance and Scuppernong, both of which I had a little bit in my stash. So I just augmented what came from the kit in stash, and it worked out really, really well. And she's just so cute. So cute. So I can take that in, take the kit stuff in with the thingy once I decide to get it finished. Uh-oh. The next one I have put on, and this is my current work in progress, is the My Sheep pincushion. And this one, they took a picture of it as the pincushion for the picture for the kit. And so once again, I picked up the kit with the backing fabric and the trim. I'm going to have a coughing fit, so we're going to pause half a minute. Alright, I'm back. There's the pattern for the My Sheep bag with the pin cushions up front. And here is my progress on it. I've gotten as far as I can before I need to move the hoops. And so I wanted to show it the accomplished bit to you before I did go ahead and move the hoops so I could get to the other E and the P. Eep, 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 eep. Anyway, this is a fun little stitch, and I'm enjoying it very, very much. There is an interesting, well, interesting to me, because these were both copyright in 2013, but you can see where they changed from the old matte fabric with a photo stuck on front to printing it on a shinier piece of paper. It's still a little matte, but when I was stitching from this one with my light on, there was no reflection or glare. This one, I do get a reflection or glare off of the pattern, so I have to kind of bend it down to make sure that I'm seeing what I'm seeing before I commit to the stitch. This is also when they went from $8 to $10. Right there. So that has been a fun project. And it's living in a pansy bag. Of course it is. That my mom made. Try to show it to you. That's not going to work. I lay my my flosses out on my project bag as I'm going along, so I can just pull from them and do whatever. I tell you what, guys, there is something in the air that has just made my life miserable. My nose is clogged, my throat is clogged, I can't breathe, I'm coughing all the time. I've never had asthma in my entire life, but sometimes it feels like up here, my upper chest is just tight. I can't really get up and do much exercise stuff. Like I was taking laps of the concourse at work in the basketball arena to get a little more exercise in, but much excursion Yeah, no. Exertion. And I just come out coughing, and it's awful. And there's got to be something in the air, because this is just like brand new in the past couple weeks. And I'm over it. We're probably going to have to pause a few more times before I get done. But luckily, we're almost done. Right. So, this is my Santa's Village. I've been working on it pretty much since the day it came out. And you'll notice that there is something missing here between the third row of houses and the last row of houses. And that is the garland border. Let's roll this up. This border. I finally managed to pick out all of my initial garland borders. So here's how they're supposed to be. You can see that they arch down like a garland. Well, I thought I would be so smart and I would reverse them for the second round, and so they arched up. They looked great, but the only problem is with the ones arching down and the ones arching up, it looked like this middle row of houses was being pinched. If I had really been thinking about it, I would have had the arch down ones here and the arch up ones here, so it was more they were being encircled. However, I did pick out all 4 house worths of the garland down here. I'm not picking it out up here, so it's going to go back in as charted. So that's one little step of my project to get this done eventually. I have 5, yeah, here it is. Here's kind of where we're at. So I have 5 houses left to do. So we're pretty close to done. Not quite there yet. But I've been thinking on and off about doing a little bit of Christmas in July or Jolly July or however you want to name it. So I thought, well, I'll get that picked out and then I can start putting the garland back in and then working on my houses as I go across to make things interesting. I don't know if interesting is not quite the right word. Anyway, to get back on track with that one, because I would like to eventually have that one as a finish so that I can put away all of the flosses and stuff that is being taken up and eaten by that one. And now for the piece de resistance, the reason you are all here is my progress on Lady of the Flag. And I have started the beading. She's kind of hard to see, well, you might be able to see her. I'm having a hard time seeing if the beading is showing up well in the viewfinder of my camera. But I have got her torches beaded, her headdress and stars around her head are beaded. I have got all the beading done here in the flag. And then over here on this little wing of her dress is beaded. And it is now time to move the hoop. There is a spot kind of right across here where there are no beads. So I'm thinking I could just move the hoop down here, kind of mark where the bottom of the beads are here, and then where the top of the beads are going to be here, to make sure that I put the top of my hoop right perfectly in that space where there are no requested beads. So there's a goal. I'm also, well, once I take her out of the frame, I wanted to leave her framed like this so you guys could, you know, get a decent look at her. When I get her out of the hoop, before I put the hoop back on for the next bit of beading, just kind of look at where the beads lay the most in her dress and in the Liberty banner that's at her feet. I'm thinking that I can get most of it in this hoop and then do the last little bits in a spring tension hoop. I've used spring tension hoop to bead successfully in the past, and I just, you know, very carefully put it on, make sure it's not stretching the beads in any one way or pressing too hard against them, and, you know, bead, get that area done, pull it off right away, don't let it sit, stuff like that. That has been successful in the past. So that's what I'm doing. On this one, it feels like I've had to relearn how to bead everything again. On her torch, I started doing the beads in an X between them, but they didn't really take very well when I was doing the silver flange of the torch very well. 3 beads together is a little too much for 32 count linen, and that has been true almost since the beginning of time. I watched several ladies who do mirrors all the time, and their beading is just immaculate, and so kind of watched what they do, tried some of their techniques. I must be missing something because it didn't work quite that well. Then I did the flag. The flag was a little bit harder because the beads had to go in certain unstitched spots on there, and so they look awful. These look awful, guys. They're just kind of jumbled, and I was trying my best. I went back to just doing 2 loops and to put them on an angle. And then when I did her headpiece, I started eliminating beads. So I'd do like 1 bead that would be 2 over 2, and then the next bead would be 3 over 2. So over 3 up 2, you know, and just kind of fitting them in here and there and eliminating a bead as I saw fit or felt that needed to be done. And so that's kind of the same process that I used down here on the wing of her dress, eliminating beads as I needed to. So I think that's going to be all for today, so that I can stop talking and whatever this is going on can calm down a bit. The only plans I have is maybe doing a little Christmas in July up here in a couple weeks for July. I'm thinking of working on the Santa's Village, as I said. There is Christmas by the Letter from Lizzie Kate, which I've had kitted up for half of forever. So I'm thinking of starting that and then having those 2 projects be my weekday projects while I continue to work on Lady of the Flag. If I'm absolutely delusional, I would say I'm going to have Lady of the Flag all beaded and done and ready to go by the end of June. So in July I could grab Celtic Noel and finish her up. I've got her from middle dress to the floor almost completed, so it's just a little bit more to do there. And then we would really be going for Christmas in July with the Christmas Fancy Lady and other projects. I don't know if that's too much Christmas or overload. I picked up this Riola's kit and have opened it up, ironed the fabric. I'm thinking maybe after I finish my sheep, maybe I'll work on a pansy, because I haven't worked on a pansy for a few months, so it's kind of where my heart's at. All right. Princess says stop talking to the camera and pay attention to me. So I hope you guys are doing a lot better than I am. Hope the world's treating you okay. One step forward, one step up. Kindness costs you nothing. Hugs and stitches, everyone. Bye.